Alright, welcome back. Even though all eyes will be focused on P. Chidambaram's maiden vote on speech, but if one goes by the track record of what happened in 2004 and 2009 vote on account, no big announcements were made. One should expect that today, from a market perspective, today's vote on account will not nudge the market needle. So how should a trader trade when global cues are supportive and we have a big event risk ahead of us? Let's get you some trading ideas and strategies from Ashwini. Ashwini, over to you.
Well, for the week, Nifty needs to stay above 6046, Bank Nifty above 10,220 and CNX IT above 9776. For the day, the Nifty level is 6029, resistance comes in at 6074 and 6101, support at 6002 and 5957. Bank Nifty, we need to stay above 10,165 and CNX IT 9825. BTST from Friday, Siemens was a sell with a stop of 530, target of 505. Arvind was a sell with a stop of 142, target of 130. Tata Elxsi was a buy with a stop of 430, target of 475. Now, fresh calls for the day. Idea Cellular is a sell with a stop of 136, target of 124. Sun TV is a sell with a stop of 340, target of 315. Shriram Transport is a sell with a stop of 565, target of 535. Maharaja Batteries is a buy with a stop of 370, target of 405. Gati is a buy with a stop of 55, target of 71. And Titan is a buy with a stop of 226, target of 242.
Mitesh, hi, morning. What is your thought, considering we've been stuck below the 6100 mark, saw 50-point recovery coming in Friday's session? Would you read too much into that? And B, would today be a volatile session given that there is an event, whether or not of much significance?
Morning. See, I think volatility will be given today. Clearly, I think, while it's not a budget, I think still the event will attract some kind of choppiness in the markets. I think Friday's movement was very important in the sense that it kind of reconfirmed that in the short term, I think fresh bearish positions or the bearish trigger should happen only if we start closing below the 200-day average. Friday, we bounced back from 5980, which is the level of 200-day average. And I think we have reconfirmed the range of 5980-70 on the downside to about 6100 to about 6130 on the upside. I think unless until these counters are being crossed, and today we don't have any signal of that, but with the event, we might do that. But once these levels are crossed, then we might look at about 150-point kind of directional move happening in the index.
Jyoti, just want to get back to you. In the last few weeks, the non-tax collections have been strong for the government. Does this give enough room to Chidambaram to please the party?
It will be limited. I don't think whatever he'll announce is going to be very substantial in terms of outlay because the amounts are not too high. The second thing we have to remember is we are already into February. So, the impact of any freebies on, elections is going to be very limited because there's just no time now. You're already sitting into February, your elections will be like in whatever 8 to 10 weeks from now. So, I think, it's not going to be something which is going to be very, very substantial in terms of outlay which should worry us from the fiscal deficit point of view.
Nilkant, Jyoti expects nothing substantial to worry us. Do you see other worries on the economic front also receding? Do you think we have an economic bottom in place? Do you think the economic storm has come and gone?
Well, the trade data is under control because the economy has slowed substantially. I think the rupee's stability is also to do with the trade deficit shrinking quite sharply. I mean, the sharpest among all emerging markets. Exports have helped, and I think the recovery in IT is also helping because that's how the current account in the last 5 months is close to balanced from being close to 5% of GDP in FY13. I think on the inflation side, yes, they have come down, but that spike was expected. Given the high geographical concentration of vegetable production in India, you see periodic spikes because of weather disruptions. That spike is now behind us, but just as you thought that vegetable prices were going down, now you have milk prices increasing at 20% a year. And therefore, the broader inflation numbers I don't think will be as good as, the trajectory will actually not be as steep as we have seen in the last 2 months.
Jyoti, a tough fiscal position, sticky inflation. How would you play the financial sector now?
See, we neutralize the financial sector. Basically, we prefer the private sector to the public sector, which I guess is one of the, it's a very consensus call to that extent. But we think, the NPL fear is still there for the next few quarters, and that's the reason we are avoiding the public sector.
Nilkant, global growth is expected to boost export sectors, but do you think needs to be done to get back? What needs to be done to get back the economy on the track? Is there any kind of an easy solution?
No, I think there is no easy solution. If there was an easy solution, then clearly those steps would have been taken. I mean, even this government is actually been taking some important economic decisions in the last 2 years or so. I think the diesel price hikes required a lot of political willpower. We have seen visa on arrival, which is, I think, a very underappreciated reform from the government. We have seen free trade agreements being signed with very large economies, Japan, Korea, ASEAN, etc. So I think there are steps already being taken, but I think the steps will have an effect after several years. So what our studies have shown is that from the time that the central government takes action to the time that we see impact on growth in a meaningful way, it takes 6 to 8 years. So I don't think there will be any easy solutions to get growth back. On the inflation side, my fear is that given that half the economy is informal and inflation is coming because of high growth in the informal economy, and the RBI's repo rate have almost no impact on the borrowing costs in the informal economy, I think inflation will stay high for longer. I think to solve the inflation problem, you need to increase supply of fruit and vegetables, you need to reduce wastage, and all the traditional things. I mean, the thing in India is that everyone knows what the solutions are. It's just that it's very difficult to get them on the ground.
So, Jyoti, I mean, if inflation is expected to remain high, do you still expect a 10 to 14% return in 2014? And would you still, advise investors to stick to defensives?
Yeah, so what we have is like, a mix of defensives and rate sensitives. Probably, in the early part of the year, the defensives will do better than post-elections, and if we can get rate cuts coming through, then the rate sensitives will start to do better. So we are basically going with a little bit of a mixed portfolio.
Jyoti, Nilkant, appreciate your time, gentlemen, and thank you for joining us. So the message, at least from the first panel, is loud and clear that we should not expect anything big, major or market moving from today's event. Even though this is P. Chidambaram's maiden vote on account speech, it is going to be more like a non-market moving event. But which are some of the individual stocks you need to focus on? For that, Yatan is standing by.
Good morning, Nikunj. Well, the first stock that you need to watch out for is Bharti Airtel, and of course there were news reports earlier, and now we have strong news reports coming in that Bharti is all set to acquire Loop Mobile for a consideration of 700 crores, and the deal will take via a slump sale. Of course, Bharti Airtel will benefit as far as the Loop overall infrastructure and subscriber base is concerned. Loop currently has 3 million subscribers and a tower capacity of close to 400 telecom towers. So on that front, some positive news is expected on this counter. Tata Motors, the ADR was up 4%, and we had the global wholesale numbers which have come in for Tata Motors. Of course, they were down 20% on year-on-year basis because of the slump as far as the domestic market sales are concerned. But if you look at JLR, their sales have come in at slightly above analyst expectations, and the number is close to 38,631 units, up by nearly 1% on a year-on-year basis. So strong JLR performance continues here. Reliance is something that you need to watch out for. Of course, we have the ex-Delhi Chief Minister, Mr. Arvind Kejriwal, which had put some allegations as far as gas pricing is concerned on Reliance, as well as the oil minister. And now Reliance, in a statement, has said that they will move court against Arvind Kejriwal as far as all of the allegations are concerned, according to PTR report. Supreme Infrastructure from the mid-cap space is something that you need to watch out for. They have won orders worth close to 1100 crores. Of course, most of the orders have come in from Government of Rajasthan, as well as various EPC contracts for government bodies. From the earnings season, Britannia is something that you need to watch out for. Their margins have come in at strong 9%, sales up 10%, as well as profits are up 62% because of the margin expansion at 100.5 crores. And also SpiceJet from the aviation space continues to disappoint. Second quarterly loss coming in of close to 173 crores. Sales were up, however, by 14% on a year-on-year basis.
Okay, Atin, we leave it at that. Lots of stocks as well to watch out for. But for now, we're going to take a very quick break. When we come back, also bring on board Arvind Sanga, Managing Partner at Geosphere Capital Management, and Ramesh Damani, member BSc, with their perspective on what to expect from the vote of account today.